Right now I have the iPhone 15 Pro Max in my hand and I have done some tests on photography. We're going to focus just on the photos and the camera because this channel is for Photoshoppers and photographers. And also I've used it. I've seen stuff out there on YouTube where people are having opinions. They haven't even used it. What's the point? There's another big problem that I discovered on the iPhone. We'll talk about it at the end. Right now let's look at photographs. So I'm using the RAW setting for doing this. So this is the 0.5. This is the 1x, and by the way, on the iPhone, if you want the true 48 megapixels, you're only going to get it at this magnification. Then we've got the 2x, and we've got the 5x. So you can see here we've got a pretty good range of lenses, and for a lot of work, this is actually going to be a really good quality camera. I got the longer zoom because I want to be able to shoot this for concerts and stuff like that I love to go to, music festivals. Now, you might have seen on the Apple keynote, they had something like 7 lenses. There are 3 lenses. So you've heard the term of optical and digital zoom. Optical is when it's a glass lens and it focuses at that distance. A digital zoom is essentially just cropping and scaling. In fact, here's a photograph inside of Photoshop. This is what it does. It scales it, and then it crops it. All right, let's look at a little closer examination now. How does this compare to the iPhone 14. Let's look at the 1x lens. This is the 15 Pro, and you can see that that's 8K, so it's doing the larger image. And then I've got the same thing here from the 14. This is also doing the RAW file at 8K. So I'm going to select both of these, and then we're going to compare them. So on the left is the 14 Pro, on the right is the 15 Pro Max. And this is the main camera. Let's zoom in and have a look. These look pretty much the same to me. There might be slight variances. Okay, let's zoom in even more. Let's pixel peep into this thing. All right, so when we look at these boats close up, they look about the same to me. For all practical purposes, the main camera on the iPhone is pretty much unchanged from the 14. And if you're getting any value out of this video, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, you won't miss any of my videos. So if we look at this boat here, this is the 0.5, and notice we can zoom all the way in here, and it's still looking pretty good. So if you have the iPhone 14, or you have the 15 Pro, this is what the 3x zoom looks like. Let me compare that to the 5x. And the reason I show you this is the choice of phone you're going to make depends on the zoom. If you like a 3x zoom and you like this kind of magnification, you're going to want to work the 15. If you like the longer zoom, you have to get the bigger phone, you have to get the Pro Max. What makes that different? It's because they're using a periscope camera in here now. So they can get more distance between the lens and the sensor so it can do a longer optical zoom. Now, Apple didn't invent this. In fact, the Google 7 Pro that I have, but this actually already has a periscope camera and this has a 5x zoom as well. Now, the question that people are going to ask is, well, can't I just take the 5 and then just pinch out and zoom out to the 3x? Yes, you can, but the quality is not as good. Let me show you. Here is the 14 Pro at the 3x zoom. Here is the 15 Pro at the 5x zoom. Now watch this. Here it is using the digital zoom and forcing this to a 3x zoom by zooming out. Do you lose quality? Absolutely. Let me show you. Okay, on the left is the 15 Pro at a 3x zoom, which is a digital zoom. And on the right, we have the 14 Pro using the 3x optical zoom. Look here, look at the building in the background, and look at these squares there. Look at the optical zoom. See how crisp that is? In fact, we're going to zoom in even more. See on the left, see how it just kind of looks like it's painted up there? Try to read the Nautilus, it's a little harder. Look at this, crisp, clean optical zoom. So if you want the best 3x zoom, you do not want to be using the 15 Pro Max because the quality is not as good as the optical zoom. So basically you're choosing a 5x zoom. If you like the 3x zoom and you've got the 14, there's absolutely no reason to upgrade just for the camera. If you want the 5x and you do concerts and things, you need that extra optical zoom, then maybe that's a reason to upgrade to the 15 Pro Max. So if you just want to upgrade the camera and you don't want to change the zoom, I don't see any advantage right now in going from the 14 to the 15. Just talking purely camera here. Oh, by the way, the macro's really nice. Just figured I'd just quickly share that. All right, here's a big shocking thing. What color are these? Not a trick question. If you said blue, that's what I would say. But guess what? These are black. This is this black case shot straight on the phone. Let me show you. Here we go. Watch this. This is black. As it zooms out and it starts to see the surrounding colors, it's balancing the color for the entire frame. So at the Apple store, I showed this to an assistant. They told me it was the material. So I looked at the silicone one. This also looks blue. So the same thing happened with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It happened with the 15 Pro. And then I grabbed one of the new 14s in there, and it did exactly the same thing. So there's definitely something in the computational photography which is doing kind of like a matrix metering. It's metering the whole scene, but not just for brightness, but for color. And it's shifting colors to kind of find an average color in the middle, which you should really be aware of that happening. So that's just something to be aware of. It's the colors around it could really influence the colors of what you're shooting. And I tried it on the different cameras. So all three of these lenses, I got exactly the same result. Honestly, buying advice, if you're in the iPhone ecosystem and you need a new iPhone, like maybe you're a couple of versions ago, definitely go for it. If you're just upgrading for the camera and the features, honestly, I don't think it's worth it. I would skip this one and wait for the iPhone 16 or wait for next week, see what Google announces. So when I talk about the quality of the photos, that's not to infer that the iPhone doesn't take great photos. In fact, it takes remarkable photos. Something this size, and the fact we have multiple lenses, we can shoot in RAW, and the photographs that we can capture are really good. In fact, they would rival a lot of point-and-shoot cameras. Obviously, if you're a professional and you're using a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, just because of the larger sensor and the large optics, clearly you're going to get better quality photos, specifically when you zoom in and you look at them closely. But for many purposes, the iPhone is going to be more than enough for most people. And then speaking of the 5x zoom, if you're shooting things like sports or concerts or even certain types of landscape, you're going to find that this is going to serve you really well. Because one of the things I love to do is video, like, bands and stuff when they're playing, and I'm definitely going to get use out of that. So thanks for spending a few minutes with me. Hopefully I've shown you some unbiased, independent comparisons of the photos where you can literally see what the lenses are doing, what the cameras are doing. And let me know in the comments underneath what you found interesting in this review. And if you're new, welcome to the cafe. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, you won't miss any of my tutorials. Until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.